I want to take a couple minutes to talk about planning using My Hero Academia for a prime example. These are the things that I haven't necessarily considered myself, and if I haven't considered this, maybe you haven't considered it as well. Because we may look at, and you may look at me, you may look at your friends, your family members, other people that you may know, and you may think like, this person's way ahead of me because they have everything figured out, and it's just like, how did they get to that point? And it's because there's all this other planning that goes behind the scenes. It's exactly what happened in the most recent episode of My Hero Academia. Like we can see, and I don't know why we're getting audio again, but it's just like you can see this within the most recent episode is basically the heroes, they plan this whole quote unquote scheme to be able to outsmart All For One, which in turn is the exact same thing that happened. And their plan was going off without a hitch until obviously near the part where if we look at this spot right here, when Deku starts to get pulled in by Himiko into the other spot, and that's where the whole plan, it didn't go in the exact same way that they needed it to because we wanted to see Deku fight off Shigaraki. And then the great part too is like you get to see this kid, which he never thought that he could be a hero. He thought that he was only a sidekick, but like this is the great part about having powers and being able to be your genuine, authentic self, is because eventually, that's the big part that I want you to understand is eventually, as long as you keep trying, it will add up and you will get something out of it. And there's this lecture that I was listening to the other day, and then we'll tie back to the whole plans and aspects, but there's this lecture that I was listening to, this conversation that I was listening to by this guy called Naval. Great dude, and he was talking about how there's like 4 different types of luck. One is blind luck, the other is like the luck that you yourself create. So it's like luck from hustling, what I'm doing, like creating these videos, and then luck from preparation, which is like I prepare basically what they did in My Hero Academia, where it's like they prepared. I don't know what's going on with this audio right now. There's a weird little reverb that keeps happening on my computer. But basically there's luck by preparation, exactly what the heroes ended up doing. So they created their own luck, and then luck for your unique character, which is exactly what Deku has. Like he's trained, same thing with, I can't remember the dude's name, but it's this guy right here that changes voices. That was like the master key to the plan. Like people thought that he had certain traits and characteristics, but then he trained hard, just as you yourself can go out and you can train, you can ride your bike, you can exercise, you can go to the gym, you can journal, you can write, you can read books. Writing and journaling are kind of the same thing. But like you basically create your own luck by training and putting yourself out there and using your unique characteristics and skills to be able to overcome it. The great part about this is when we look at their planning and the preparation, it's just like, you really think that these small little containers are gonna help, like are gonna stop us from like what we're about to do? And it's just like, that wasn't their plan. Like you can think that it's their plan, but their real plan was like to separate everybody else. And that's what you can see a little bit of foreshadowing. I don't know if I can find the exact clip, but like when Himiko looks at Deku, she's like, okay, I need to get him to make sure that this happens, to ensure that like their plan doesn't go off with like perfectly, but like the plan still works out exactly as it needed to. And this is something that I was talking about in one of my other recent videos as well, where it's just like, we can prepare as much as we possibly can for the battle, but we can't control the outcome of the battle. It's like when they're fighting off Shigaraki and Jeans, I think it's Jeans, is fighting off against Shigaraki. It's like you see it and you see these perspectives of like, well, they prepared for this specific event to happen, and now it's happening in this different way. But like we're still prepared as much as we best can be. So they have to like improvise with their plan, since Deku was transported somewhere else and he wasn't a part of the battle where he was supposed to be. But they still had the preparation as you have right now, as you are preparing for whatever it is that you're doing. You can focus on the inputs. You can focus on doing the inputs. And there's this diagram, which let me see if I can draw this really quick. So it's a different way of thinking. And it's a way that I can see how I'm thinking and why I think the way that I do. So let me go right back into my computer, and of course my drawing tablet thing's dead, so that's a bummer. But basically what the system is it's so you have like an input right here, and then this is the thing that you yourself can control. So it could be maybe watching one less episode of anime and going on a walk instead, or listening to an audiobook, or reading an audiobook, or listening to a podcast, or watching this video as you go outside. It really depends on what your goals are and what your plan is. You focus on that, you test it, you try it, and it's like, okay, if it didn't work, you got the output, but like the output wasn't exactly what you wanted it to be, just as it was like in My Hero. It's just like the output that they wanted to have was to have Deku and all the characters separated in the ways that they needed to, but that didn't exactly happen in the ways that they had hoped. So now they have to improvise, and they have to change the output and like go back to their original training so that they can have a different outlook than they originally had. you can do the exact same thing. You train, you prepare as much as you possibly can for the battle to come. It's why I recommend like figuring out what you want in life, exercising so you can become healthier, so that you can be somebody that stands up at your father's funeral and isn't cowered in a corner. You can be somebody that is empowering, that is a hero that can save other people and can go out and do the next to impossible things just so that you can overcome like whatever you have in your obstacle. But like you can only do that through preparation, and the only way to prepare is by thinking outside of the box, being infinitely creative, which is exactly what you are. And then from that point forward, you just make those small little iterations, just make small little pivots. So it's like you try one thing, okay, this didn't work, so then let's go down this route. Okay, well, this route didn't work, so like let's make a little pivot. Okay, well, this didn't work, so like let's go down this little pivot. And you take these different routes to eventually get you to the same place, which once you do that, like you'll be exactly where you need to be. But like being able to outsmart the person that you're going against is through preparation. And the only way to prepare is the one thing that you yourself can do. The more you do this, the better off you're gonna be. You might not have all the answers, this is something that I learned when I was doing sales. Was like, if I didn't have all the answers, I'd just be like, hey, I'm sorry, like I don't know exactly what it is right now, but I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna figure it out for you. That's exactly what they're doing in this process. Like they have to iterate, they have to make improvements. The more they do that, the stronger that they become as a unit and as a team, and then they're finally able to defeat All for One. So if you guys wanna have more about this, you can follow me, click that subscribe button. This is completely free, only the cost or click of a button, which is absolutely nothing. And then I'll see you guys in the next video. Appreciate you watching. Yeah.